Hi, I'm Lisa Milner, the Director of Sales and Marketing for FlipPal. I will share my experience of putting together a heritage cookbook. They're fun to make and share with your family and friends. I have been collecting recipes since home ec class back in Iowa in the 70s. I came from a large Catholic family and we were together with our cousins nearly every weekend and for certain on the holidays. I had wonderful parents, grandmothers, aunts, uncles, cousins, then in-laws that have added to my recipe collection. I am very grateful for the strong feeling of roots my ancestors gave me and all of the great meals and family time they provided. Funny story, my grandma Cook had about given up on cooking by the time I was old enough to notice, so I have a few recipes from her to pass along. When my kids went off to school and moved away, they always wanted copies of our recipes. It would be a fast grab and go of the top few, copy them on the copier and put them in a Ziploc bag, and away they went until a birthday or a holiday came around. Then it was a phone call, my typing up the recipe to email to them. I've always enjoyed cooking and gathering around the kitchen with friends and family. I'm a Nana now. I want to ensure my grandchildren have these recipes for keepsakes. I have an organic vegetable garden, and that is fun to have the little kids involved in planting and picking fresh produce. They can see where those foods come from. Ask your family and friends to contribute photos and recipes. Create your heritage cookbook. Whip up a fundraising cookbook or simply show off your own recipes in a beautiful book or ebook. I chose to create a digital heritage cookbook, as well as one in print, to ensure that Grandma's favorite dishes live on. Now, with the FlipPal mobile scanner and online cookbook software, it's just so simple. So how to create a digital heritage cookbook? You want to gather your recipes, decide on format. There's several to choose from. Scan all recipe cards, photos, and labels. Compile the memorabilia by person, time period, holiday, or any other theme that inspires you. Then personalize with photos, memorabilia, quotes, and then share with family and friends. So first, gather your recipes. Here is how my recipes have been stored, much like my printed photos had been stored, in a recipe shoebox, 3 shelves in the kitchen, on top of the cabinets, Ziploc bags, manila folders that I have to go through each and every time I want to find a recipe. I have 1 Ziploc bag and 1 shoebox that has dividers that are my go-tos. This Joy of Cooking cookbook is the last cookbook Dad gave me for Christmas, the last year before he passed away. Second, decide on the format. There's 3 by 5, 7 by 7, 8 by 10, landscape, portrait, coffee table size. Probably one of the hardest things was to figure out what my format would be. I used the 8 by 10 size because of the different size recipes that I had, and I have that paper in my printer for draft copies, so I went with it. You can have a picture on one page, text on the other, but that really takes up a lot of space in a book. Most printed books are between 45 and 50 pages. I have more recipes than that for the cookbook. Hundreds of layouts, formats, borders, colors to choose from. Please see this cookbook cover from Di Miller. She's another FlipHel team member. Then scan all items. Take the time to create scans of ancestors' photos. Try to use their original recipe, scanning and making a digital copy. FlipHel Mobile Scanner and Easy Stitch software makes it simple. I pulled out recipes that were in many different sizes and started scanning. Even faded photos with gravy drippings are easily brightened up with some color correction. And the 5 by 6 cards were easy to take 2 overlapping scans and stitch them together. Here's a picture of the original recipe. I took the lid off of FlipPal, I flipped it over, and I took 2 scans. These are the 2 scans before I used FlipPal Easy Stitch to stitch them together. So that is how I did the recipes from cards, sheets of paper, and cookbooks. Now this next picture is from the 1940s of Great Grandma Smith. I scanned the original with FlipPal and used Photoshop elements to fix the spot on her hair. and to crop it. Organize and name your files. I created a folder for each recipe and added the elements I wanted to use for the recipe page. Name files so that they can easily be found. This is the naming convention that I used. I put down the type of file, like recipe, and then the name is for the recipe name or title of the recipe. Then I use who gave me the recipe, like Grandma Smith, and organized my images and my stitched images and then tips. Then you'll want to compile and create an index. Compile the memorabilia by person, recipe titles, time period, holiday, or any other theme that inspires you. Now I plan to index by ancestor, and then I will cross-reference by recipe type. A cookbook index is just a list of recipes, isn't it? Well, no, not really. There are several styles to choose from, so you may just want to Google recipe index and see what's your favorite. Then I personalized. This was the funnest part. I used the name, title of the recipe. I used a photo of the ancestor that owns the recipe, and then a photo of the dish, maybe after you've prepared it, and then details like prep time, how many servings, bake time, and then the recipe. So do try to use the original for authenticity, gravy drippings and all. This broccoli, cheese, and rice recipe is our great-grandma's Smith's handwriting that makes such a strong connection to her. However, my daughter and I have added a few of our own pinches of this or that. So the tips, these are the shortcuts and helpful hints. Back in the day, they used dashes and pinches, and I've tried to convert those for the measuring that we use today. And voila! Here's an example of a recipe page with the formatting that I chose. This has been a recipe that's been passed down through generations. While they started to use minute rice, I preferred to use long grain real rice. This is the best ever, as my granddaughter would say. Although a family secret recipe, read, prepare, and enjoy. Now, share your Heritage Cookbook. Invite your family to dinner. Give a cookbook as a gift. These unique keepsakes are meant to be passed down to future generations. You can put your cookbook online for others. You can email it, print. There's online recipe share. You can look at it on your smartphone for when you're shopping. You can cook with your tablet, Mac, netbook, whatever, and then publish if you desire to do that. You too can begin the truly rewarding experience of creating a treasured heirloom, a personalized family cookbook. I am most excited about pulling this all together because we are all preoccupied every day with that old yet ever new question, what shall we have for dinner? This digital cookbook, I hope, is the answer. Guess who? No, it's not Aunt Betty in her bonnet and apron, but good old Barney. I just love that photo. And guess who this is for? The apron my daughter said I had to wear when we cooked together. Does not cook well with others. Now you can create your own digital cookbook and have fun.